All right, the former PDP and Labour leaders must join forces to challenge President Bola Tinubu in 2027. Opposition figures like Atiku Abubakar and Peter Obi have expressed willingness to collaborate, but analysts say or stress that only a unified front across major parties has the strength to threaten Tinubu's bid. Despite internal divisions and competing ambitions, opposition coalitions such as the C.U.P.P, PDP, Labour and NNPP have begun discussions aimed at a strategic realignment. However, doubts remain over whether any alliance will include all key players, especially the PDP, which may see as the essential anchor for any credible election. That's what many see. Critics and political observers have said that without a merger, it will be very difficult to have this opposition or this coalition or this unseating of the President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Our guest this morning is Comrade Adebayo, the national spokesperson of a coalition of united political parties. Good morning and welcome to the show, Comrade Adebayo.
Thank you, Nyamgul, for having me. Thank you, viewers. Good morning.
Okay, a lot of people are saying 2027 is still far away and a lot can happen within this space before 2027. But the other camp, as it were, is not resting on their oars. In fact, right now it seems as if governance is suffering in favor of campaigns or politicking and all that. And Nigerians who genuinely are concerned about the development of this country are worried that the coalition or the opposition is not doing enough. How far so far with the coalition talks and all that? Because it seems as if there are too many stories regarding coalition happening or not happening.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you so much. You know, when it comes to political actors and political parties and platforms coalescing for a particular objective, it is not an overnight thing. It's not an overnight drive. It is something that must be deliberate. It is something that must be strategic. It is something that must be systematic. So for you to have any good result, you must be deliberate about everything you are doing. You must be systematic and strategic. So it's not something that it's not that easy to consummate. It's not an overnight job. Now, it has started. So, and it's moving forward. It's progressing. It's gaining traction by the day. It's gaining traction by the day. And before 2027, it is not, politically speaking, the time is not here anymore. It's not too early to start preparing for 2027. Unfortunately, like you have mentioned in your intro, the people in government have abandoned governance, and what they have been doing is politicking. And they have started doing that not even yesterday, not even today. They started doing it almost really got to the power. They started preparing and projecting and permitting for 2027. Because these people are not really interested in governance. They are only interested in politics. And that's what they do. Even while in government, that's what they do. You know, the situation we have currently points to that the government, the people in government are only preoccupied with how to win or rig the 2027 elections. You know, that's why you see all these decampments, governors decamping, senators decamping, ministers decamping. People are leaving their parties and including their drones, and they're going into the APC. You know, because of the program, because of the agenda of the president to ensure that only the APC survives in Nigeria as a project. That plans to turn Nigeria to a one-party state. And that's what I was saying. That you see governors, the Gambia, you know. I've said it several times that it is well known in this country that President Bola Tinubu knows how to play politics, and he knows how to win elections by whatever means. Anyways, so the coalition against him, a coalition to unseat him, a coalition to contest against him successfully must be strong, must be united, must be deliberate, must be focused, and must be relentless. So whether we have all those qualities as at the moment is left to be debated. But the everything seems to be winning now. They seem to be catching big fishes everywhere, bringing them to this thing. It's looking as though they have even already won the 2027 because of the governor, because of the senators, and House of Representatives, honorables, the campaign to the party. But you see, this idea of saying President Tinubu is a mega master of politicking, we might just crash in 2027 because the opposition against him, the coalition against him, is getting stronger and stronger. As people are dumping their parties and going to APC, they will still activate their own crisis there, especially close to the elections. Now, there's this, if you say you know how to do something, you know how to do this better than anybody, but there's a limit, there's a time that everything is going to stop. In the indelible memoir of Professor Oluwole Soyinka, written in 1972, the man died. Prof said, he said the dramatist over-dramatizes himself once too often. The dramatist over-dramatizes himself once too often. I know how to do this, I can jump here and there, I can do this, I can conquer this, I can win this, I can demolish this, I can do that. A day is coming, the day of reckoning is coming, that you just discover, like Samson of the Bible. And one day you say, I want to go out like before to attack the Philistines. You want to stand up, you know that your power, you have lost your power. You can no longer stand up. So that is going to happen, as likely to happen in 2027. However, as desirable as these political platform coalitions are necessary, the important thing here is the people's coalition. Because Nigeria deserves a new direction. A coalition of the people in a new direction is what is going to save Nigeria. A coalition, a political party coalition, with civil society coalition, and the general populace coalition, the Nigerian coalition. It's not about how many numbers of political parties that are coalescing. It is about the people being brought on board to coalesce behind that coalition to make sure that Nigeria is rescued. It's not about unseating Tinubu. It is about rescuing Nigeria from the retrogressive forces that are holding Nigeria hostage, from the retrogressive forces that are making Nigeria almost becoming again a pariah state in the community of nations, that is making Nigeria lose what rightfully belongs. The other, just your last segment, discussing about how Nigeria lost, I think, $10 million World Bank grant or whatever. Yeah. Now, because of poor auditing, because they cannot audit their own agencies and parasiters. And this is not as if they don't have the capacity. Nigeria has an auditor general. What's his job? What is he doing? We have expert auditors. Some of them will travel abroad, we meet them in high value companies around the world who are auditors, accountants who are doing very well. But when it comes to your country, it is deliberate. It is because a lot is being looted. It's because a lot is being stolen. That's why they will deliberately, mess up the books to make it look like if you cannot eat that is inauditable. They have stolen money, that it becomes, our books have become inauditable. And then you cannot bamboozle the international financial agencies. Whatever you try to hide, you find out. So that's not called forensic auditing. So they will come with that and they discover that you have messed up your books, you have done terrible things, and they will not be able to invest in an economy that is being mismanaged by plutocrats, that by people that do not believe in the development and progress of their country only for their own selfish interests. That is why we lost that one. So politically speaking, the coalition of the people that are suffering hunger, especially hunger and insecurity, it is their coalition coming together. All we need to do as opposition forces is to provide leadership for people that are aggrieved. They are aggrieved against the terrible and anti-human policies of this government. It's for us to provide leadership for them, to provide a platform for them, for a new direction in which Nigerians will now see hope in the immediate future of this country, and then we'll be able to achieve the rescue project of Nigeria from the retrogressive forces that are holding it hostage. That is more important than politically exposed persons and political parties and the rest of that. Political parties will provide the coalition, but it's going to bring in civil society organization and the general populace of the people, mobilize the people behind a principle, behind an ideology to rescue Nigeria, behind an ideology to rebuild Nigeria, behind an ideology to renew Nigeria, to re-energize Nigeria, to rediscover.
Okay, I get all this. I get all this that you're saying, Mr.
As opposition now.
I get all this you're saying. There are two things I'm concerned about. First of all is that in this coalition, there are political parties that are judged to be the strongest of the opposition. And if they can bring together the rest of the parties, the coalition will be good. But this seems to be the people or the parties with the greatest problems within them. This is the PDP, for instance, that has two factions. The Wike faction is there, and the other people faction is there. We have the Labour Party, which has the Aburi faction and the whatever other faction that is there. So, and people are leaving. Governors are leaving. House of Assembly members and National Assembly members are leaving to join the the ruling APC, and it seems as if this is not speaking well for this coalition and all that. Secondly, my concern is that one of the tools that can be used to make this election, the next election, to be free and fair, for people to have a chance, whether they belong to the ruling party or not, is the electoral bill that should spell out things, especially like the electronic transmission of results from the polling units. That was not, maybe it was a bit vague in the last amendment to that electoral act. So what is the coalition, at least the people who are remaining, doing to make sure that, one, these parties that should lead, should be at the vanguard, do not have the problems they're having, if that is possible? But most importantly, what are you doing to make sure that the amendments to the electoral acts are done before 2027, so that things will be spelled out? Because one, it will give people the confidence to go out and vote, and then secondly, we will know that whatever we do, we are going to get the results that we put in.
Yeah, thank you so much. You see, like I said the other time, it is not a tea party. This coalition effort, this coalition engineering and re-engineering is not a tea party. You know, the electoral act, if we succeed in getting the electoral act amended to ensure that there's electronic transmission of results, it will go a long way to help in the transparency of the electoral process. It will help in having a free, fair, and credible election. You know, in our elections, it will be very good. But you see, also with determination and hard work, even without that law coming on, as hard as it might seem, you know, it is still possible to achieve opposition victory in 2027. Why? We need to work hard. You have to mobilize people. Now, when people talk about coalition, sometimes I tell people, you know, the most important element of opposition is the people. It's the Nigerians ourselves. Now, Peter Obi did not have any coalition. He came in, he left PDP, went to Labour Party, turned Labour Party into more or less an Eldorado of political success and victory. And what did he do? He mobilized the Nigerian youth behind an idea that government can be prudently managed. And what happened? He almost won the election. In a free, fair, if we had a free, fair, and credible election in 2023, Tinubu would not be president of this country. We didn't have that. We did not have that. So, but the challenge now is that I feel that the opposition must rise up and match energy with energy, and match strategy with strategy, and try, in fact, to surpass the APC strategy for strategy, plan for plan, and you know, all the things that they are doing. Except you are able, I'm not saying we should begin to now engage in foul tactics and foul politics. No, I'm saying that we must work harder. Because, you know, President Tinubu is not somebody, is not a lightweight that you can just push over anyhow. You need to work hard, you need to be strategic, you need to be deliberate in making sure that you get the people behind an idea, behind a candidate that has the credibility, behind a candidate that has the capacity, behind a candidate that has the pedigree. If we are able to get that, any other thing will follow in place. And then get the people, get Nigerians, overwhelming majority of Nigeria behind this idea that look, we want to rescue this country. Because nobody wants to continue in hunger in 2027. Nobody wants to continue in insecurity in 2027. Certainly, the people of Benue, and the people on the Plateau, and the people in Yobe, and the people in Borno, and the people in Yobe, nobody, and the people are traveling by road from Lagos to Yola, from Yola to Port Harcourt, who have been kidnapped, whose families have been kidnapped every day, whose wife have been raped and all manner of things happening because of the bandits and the terrorists that are taking over the territorial integrity of Nigeria. People don't want to continue that in 2027 because that is our picture, that is our reality at the moment. And we must know that the people are tired, they are fed up, and they are ready to do anything to legally and constitutionally change this situation by voting out an incompetent and highly, highly anti-people government in 2027. So that is there. It is there. The Nigerian voters are like a ripe mango to be plucked because they are ripe for political revolution. They are ripe for political revolution. What we need to do is to find a way to aggregate the total frustration of the Nigerian people with the system and provide a credible alternative, get a candidate that is sellable, that is marketable, that is acceptable to Nigerians. Once you get that, no matter the coalition you form, the people will follow. The people will follow. So it is, it's good enough you have political parties coming together, you have people coming together, talking coalition, talking about how to come together to ensure that there is a leadership change in 2027. Good enough. But also, more importantly, is to have a candidate who is credible, who has pedigree, who has professional integrity and capacity to be able to lead the process as a candidate that will present to Nigerians. You understand that this is our candidate, and it's somebody to trust. If somebody who has never had any iota of corruption allegation, who has served locally and internationally and has outstanding records. Someone like that will be able to be marketable and sellable to Nigerians. So that is that. That's where we need to get it right. We cannot. Darkness cannot remove darkness. You need light, no matter how small, to get rid of darkness. And that is the situation. That is the stage that we are in Nigeria. It does not matter how many governors, how many senators and honorables defect into the ruling party because of their own what Chinua Achebe of blessed memory called self-centered pedestrianism. It really doesn't matter. The biggest coalition, the strongest coalition against injustice and bad governance are the people themselves, are the Nigerians ourselves, who are fed up, who are frustrated with insecurity and hunger and unemployment and terror and collapsing level.
We understand that. We understand that the people may be frustrated, but the reality is that sometimes the results are written. Because as we speak now, I don't know if all the results from every polling unit are in the INEC portal that people can go and see that this is what actually happened every polling unit that we went to. So what if this is the case and the Constitution or the Electoral Act is not spelled out in such a way that people will see what the results are? That's what gives me cause for worry, because you might win an election, but you can only get what is allocated to you by the powers that be. And that means that somebody who may not have been voted for will become the person at the helm of affairs. That's what is worrying me right now. So you need to up your game in making sure that the Electoral Act is amended to favor the Nigerian man, the Nigerian person.
One of the things
very briefly, please. Yes.
Section plus TV Africa is the fact that you guys are unpretentious about stating the facts as they are. Results are being written, and we know that is one of our tragic realities in Nigeria and our Nigerian democracy. We know so that the Electoral Act will help a lot. But one of the things I fear most is the fact that leaders of election will always try to find a way around some of these things. But the Electoral Act, if they say it's compulsory for you to electronically transmit results, it will help us a lot in having some level of transparency in our electoral processes. But I do not see this Senate. I do not see this National Assembly. Is it the 10th one? I do not see it touching that, because they have a hidden agenda to ensure that the election in 2027 is rigged. But if the people in their overwhelming numbers, elections are easier to rig if you have just maybe 500,000 lead, 200,000 lead. But where you have 10 million and upwards lead, it is very difficult to rig that election. And that is why if the people, if you succeed in mobilizing the people against a new direction agenda, a new direction movement, and people are able to believe in what the opposition is bringing, and they come out in their millions. We are not looking for 10 million, 7 million people for the, but we are talking about 50 million and above. Because we have more than that number of registered voters in Nigeria today. And they come out and vote overwhelmingly for good governance, for security,
well,
for food security, for personal security. And they come out with ability to vote for good qualitative education and to vote for medical facility and rest of that. No, it will be difficult for anybody to just sit down somewhere and write this up because they know the kind of reaction that will come from the public, the kind of riot that's going to come, the kind of violence reaction that's going to come, they will not be able to hold it. So what is important, and we should have started like yesterday, is to continue to hammer it into the area of Nigeria that you need to have your PVC, you need to have the right to be able to vote, and exercise that right to vote and vote against bad governance and corruption and backwardness.
Well,
that is
Comrade,
important for us.
Comrade Adebayo.
I don't have the I'm not so optimistic about this National Assembly that they want to do, because they know that doing that will ensure that the right people come to governance, and they will be done away with by Nigerians who are tired of the APC who are
okay, Comrade Adebayo. Thank you. Thank you. Well, as we speak right now, there's concerted effort, whether we like it or not, to make the people lose so much confidence that the next election may only be loyalists to the people, the ruling party, because voter apathy is going to be so high in the next election. So I implore you, we all implore you, because you are the people who are at the vanguard, to do your best to mobilize the people to know what they're supposed to do, because the next election we may not find even half of the population that voted in the last election voting in the next election. But we wish you luck. We wish you luck as a coalition. We wish you luck as a coalition, and
I will consider it a personal failure for the opposition if we have that level of voter apathy, because by now there are things we should start doing now. I mean, Tinubu is not looking for INEC to his posters, his billboards are all over the place.
We really need to wrap it up right now. Well,
our opposition cannot afford to be sleeping when
thank
the
you.
You want to contest against from day one in 2023 started preparing for 2027.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I'm glad for that realization. I'm glad that you realized that, and you said you should have started like yesterday. But we'd like to really thank you this morning. Thank you so much, Comrade Adebayo. There's much to talk about. 2027 is still a long way off, but we will keep talking about this until it gets to that point. And for today, this is the much we can take. Thank you very much for your time this morning.
Thank you, Nyamgul. Thank you, Plus TV Africa, for always bringing to the fore things that have to do with the people's interests and welfare.
Thank you very much. God bless you too. Well, we'll be talking with Comrade Mark Adebayo, National Spokesperson, C.U.P.P. That's a coalition of united political parties, and we were looking at coalition, if it is possible to unseat the next, the present administration. Next, we will be also looking at the prospects of other opposition parties like the Labour Party, the PDP, especially in a place like Lagos State, and we'll be joined by Honorable Shoyemi Adedotun. Well, we'll take that short break, very short break, and we'll be back in a moment. Stay with us.